Father Pío revealed 3 words that offer divine protection against Mercury retrograde. And in exactly 8 days, on November 9th at 2:02 p.m. Eastern Time, you're going to need that protection. Because without it, the next 20 days could bring devastating miscommunication, chaos in your relationships, and profound spiritual vulnerability. Today, I'm going to reveal these 3 powerful words that Father Pío used during 50 years of spiritual warfare, and how you can activate them. Before November 9th, Mercury retrograde in November 2025 is already affecting your life at this very moment. The pre-shadow began on October 21st, but here's what most people don't know. While everyone is panicking about astrology, Catholics have something far more powerful. The protection taught by one of the greatest mystical saints in history. And this protection doesn't come from crystals, from pagan rituals, or from horoscopes. It comes directly from the 3 words of Saint Father Pío of Pietrelcina, tested in 50 years of direct combat against demons. If you believe in Father Pío's protection, write in the comments, "Pray, wait, don't worry." Those are the 3 words. And before showing you how to activate them, you need to understand exactly what we're protecting ourselves from. Mercury retrograde officially begins on November 9th, 2025 at 2:02 p.m. Eastern Time. You've already been in the zone of influence since October 21st. This means you've already been experiencing the effects for days. But these effects are far from minor. This Mercury retrograde has 2 distinct phases, each with its own spiritual danger. Phase 1 runs from November 9th to 18th, when Mercury is in Sagittarius. Astrologers call this the red alert for verbal explosions. It's the period of greatest risk of miscommunication. You know those moments when words come out of your mouth before you can control them? When you say exactly what you shouldn't say in the most harmful way possible. That's the power of Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Conversations turn into conflicts. Messages are misinterpreted. Professional emails cause devastating misunderstandings. But wait, phase 2 is even more dangerous. From November 18th to 29th, Mercury enters Scorpio. And here the game changes completely. It's no longer about what you say by accident. It's about what's hidden coming to the surface. Buried truths resurface. Problems from the past that you thought were resolved come back with full force. Secrets are revealed. And all of this happens when your ability to process emotions and communicate clearly is completely compromised. And it doesn't end on November 29th. The post-shadow extends until December 16th. This means almost 2 complete months of spiritual vulnerability. 2 months where every conversation is a minefield. 2 months where mental confusion can lead you to terrible decisions. 2 months where the most important relationships in your life can be destroyed by misunderstandings. But the effects aren't just communicational. Travels are interrupted. Contracts are misunderstood. Technology fails at the worst possible moments. Your mind becomes fuzzy, unable to think clearly. And in the middle of all this external chaos, there's an even greater danger that most people completely ignore. The spiritual danger. Because while everyone is worried about flight delays and unsent messages, the real attack is happening at a much deeper level. Satan uses chaos to distract from prayer. Mercury retrograde is his playground. When your mind is confused, when your emotions are in turmoil, when you can't communicate clearly even with yourself, much less with God, that's exactly where the enemy attacks. But here's something that will completely change your perspective on this period. Mercury retrograde in November 2025 happens during a very specific spiritual window in the Catholic calendar. We're in the post-Halloween period, that season of spiritual cleansing when the veils between the material and spiritual world are still thin. And we're entering the pre-Advent preparation, that sacred time of inner preparation for Christ's coming. Do you see what that means? This Mercury retrograde isn't just a random astrological phenomenon. It's an opportunity in disguise, a chance to deepen your prayer life exactly when the world around you is in chaos. While everyone else is lost in confusion, you can be anchored in divine peace. But that only happens if you have protection, and not just any protection. the protection that works during intense spiritual warfare. And that's where Father Pío comes in. Saint Father Pío of Pietrelcina was not just a saint. He was a mystic who lived spiritual warfare every day of his life. He carried the wounds of Christ in his own body. He fought demons directly. He saw the invisible spiritual world with absolute clarity. Father Pío didn't speak about spiritual warfare in theoretical terms. He experienced it physically, viscerally, constantly. For more than 50 years, Father Pío faced demonic attacks that would have destroyed most people. Demons attacked him physically at night. He was beaten, thrown, tormented, but he always won. Always. And when people asked him how he maintained absolute peace amid such suffering and constant spiritual battle, Father Pío always gave the same answer. 3 words. He distilled decades of spiritual warfare, all the protection, all the wisdom from his battle against the forces of darkness, into 3 simple words. Words so powerful that they became the motto of his life. Words that he repeated constantly. Words that millions of Catholics around the world now use as spiritual shields. And these 3 words are your guaranteed protection during Mercury retrograde in November 2025. The first word is pray. It seems simple, doesn't it? But Padre Pío wasn't talking about casual prayer. He was talking about prayer as a weapon of war. Prayer is the best weapon we have, Padre Pío said. It is the key to God's heart. And during Mercury retrograde, when horizontal communication between people is completely disrupted, you still have vertical communication with God. Think about it. When your words are being misinterpreted, when you can't make yourself understood, when every conversation seems to turn into conflict, you have a direct line to the Creator of the universe. And that line never fails. It is never misinterpreted. It is never in retrograde. Padre Pío understood that prayer is far more than asking God for favors. It's about connecting with the source of all clarity, peace, and protection. During Mercury retrograde, when external chaos is at its peak, prayer becomes your safe harbor. Your guardian angel is waiting to guide you through the confusion. God is waiting to give you the right words at the right moment. But you need to pray. The second word is wait. Wait. Not passively hoping for things to improve, but actively trusting in divine providence. Waiting is the antidote to the anxiety that Mercury retrograde creates. Padre Pío said, pray, wait, and do not worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. Amatisium. During Mercury retrograde, when everything seems to be going wrong, when confusion is constant, when you can't see the way ahead, hope is your anchor. Not blind hope, but hope grounded in absolute trust that God is in control, that no lost message, no misunderstanding, no confusion is outside of God's plan. Waiting means trusting that when Mercury is retrograde, God is not. While human communication falters, divine providence continues working perfectly. Padre Pío lived this hope during 50 years of intense suffering, and it is this same hope that will carry you through the next 2 months. The third word is do not worry. This is the most powerful of the 3 words, because all that Mercury retrograde does is create worry. Worry about communication, worry about relationships, worry about decisions, worry about the past resurfacing, worry about hidden truths being revealed. But Padre Pío gives us the prescription, do not worry. And he doesn't say this lightly. He speaks from experience, someone who faced the worst imaginable spiritual attacks and prevailed. Worry is useless, Padre Pío insisted. And he was absolutely right. Worry changes nothing. It only drains your spiritual energy. It opens doors to the enemy. During Mercury retrograde, when you are tempted to worry about every word that comes out of your mouth, about every message you send, about every conversation that could go wrong, Padre Pío tells you, do not worry, because you have something much more powerful than worry. You have prayer, you have hope, you have divine protection guaranteed by a saint who lived spiritual warfare and won. These 3 words, pray, wait, do not worry, are not separate concepts. They form a unified system, a complete spiritual armor. When you pray, you establish connection with God. When you wait, you trust in divine providence. When you don't worry, you close the doors the enemy tries to open through anxiety. And this is not abstract theory. This is protection grounded in solid Catholic doctrine. Prayer plus hope plus trust equals complete spiritual armor. St. Paul tells us in Ephesians to put on the armor of God. Padre Pío showed us exactly how to do that in 3 simple words. For 50 years of intense spiritual warfare, Padre Pío wielded these 3 words as his shield. And it worked, always. Demons attacked him but couldn't destroy him. Suffering surrounded him, yet he maintained absolute peace. Chaos raged around him, but he remained anchored in God. And now these same 3 words are available to you. During Mercury retrograde in November 2025, when confusion surrounds you, when communication breaks down, when relationships are at risk, you have the protection Padre Pío wielded for decades. But here's something crucial you need to understand. Words alone are not enough. Knowing these 3 words intellectually won't protect you. You need the practices that Padre Pío combined with them concrete ways to apply pray, wait, and do not worry during the next 2 months. And that's exactly what I'm going to reveal in segment 2, the 6 specific protection tools that Padre Pío taught. Tools you can implement today before November 9th. Practical, concrete tools tested by decades of victorious spiritual warfare. And one of these tools involves your guardian angel in a way that 99% of Catholics have never been taught. A specific method of invoking angelic protection that Padre Pío used daily. And one of these tools involves your guardian angel in a way that 99% of Catholics have never been taught. A specific method of invoking angelic protection that Padre Pío used daily and that will completely change how you navigate periods of spiritual confusion. Remember, the pre-shadow is already active. Each day without these practices is a day of unnecessary spiritual vulnerability. The effects are intensifying now. The pressure is building. And in 8 days, when Mercury enters officially retrograde, the intensity will multiply. But you don't need to be afraid. Because you have Padre Pío, you have 3 powerful words. And in the next segment, you'll have the complete protection system. Stay with me. The 6 practical tools are coming. And the secret of the guardian angel that will shield you against all Mercury retrograde confusion is just minutes away. I promised you the secret of the guardian angel, and here it is. But before revealing it, you need to understand the complete system that Padre Pío taught. It's not just one isolated practice. It's 6 protection tools, each targeting a specific effect of Mercury retrograde. And you have only a few days until November 9th. So let's build your spiritual armor now. Padre Pío did not leave his spiritual children unprotected. He knew that life brings storms, communication crises, painful revelations, unexpected chaos. And he gave us an arsenal. 6 spiritual weapons that, when used together, create a fortress around your soul. I'll explain each one and show you exactly how to apply them during Mercury retrograde. The first tool is the foundation of everything. Without it, the other 5 don't work fully. It's prayer. Padre Pío said, prayer is the best weapon we have. It is the key to God's heart. And he wasn't talking about a rush prayer before bed. He was talking about a morning routine of at least 15 minutes before checking your phone, before reading the news, before any worldly distractions or conversations with others. Why? Because when horizontal communication collapses, and it will collapse between November 9th and 18th, vertical communication needs to be strong. You establish the divine connection first. Padre Pío prayed the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Rosary daily. My instruction for you is simple. Choose at least one of these prayers and make it your first action of the day. Before the caffeine, before the bright screen of your phone, you speak with God. This is preventive protection. When Mercury retrograde pushes you toward impulsive reactions, this morning connection will be the brake that saves you. Prayer alone would be enough to protect you, but Padre Pío gave us 5 additional layers of protection. And the second is the most powerful revelation you'll hear today. This is the tool that few Catholics know and even fewer practice. It's the secret of guardian angels. Padre Pío had such an intimate relationship with his guardian angel that he spoke with him daily, the way you'd speak with a close friend. And he revealed something extraordinary to us. Send all your requests through your guardian angel because they have direct access to God. It's not magic. It's celestial hierarchy working in your favor. Let me show you the step-by-step method. In the morning, as soon as you wake up, say this: Guardian angel, I entrust this day to you. Guide my words, protect my relationships, clarify my thoughts. It's a spiritual delegation. You're activating an intercessor who never sleeps, never fails, never grows tired. Now, when a conflict arises, and during phase 1 of Mercury retrograde between November 9th and 18th, they will come like a flood. You do this: Guardian angel, speak with the guardian angel of, bring peace and understanding between us. You delegate the difficult conversation to the angels first and before any journey, because Mercury retrograde is famous for causing chaos in travel. You say, Guardian angel, protect this journey. Now see how this applies specifically to the 2 phases of Mercury retrograde. In phase 1, from November 9th to 18th, when the communication crisis hits its peak, you delegate all difficult conversations to your guardian angels before opening your mouth. In phase 2, from November 18th to 29th, when hidden truths begin to emerge, you ask your guardian angel to reveal what you need to see, not what you want to see, but what God wants you to see. Padre Pío treated his guardian angel as constant company. He didn't make important decisions without consulting him first. And you can do the same. This one practice alone could prevent 90% of Mercury retrograde disasters, but we're not stopping here. The third tool is weekly confession. Padre Pío called this the bath of the soul. He would ask, you wouldn't go weeks without bathing your body. Why neglect your soul? During the Mercury retrograde window, from October 21st to December 16th, weekly confession is mandatory. Why? Because Mercury retrograde exposes the spiritual debris you've been accumulating. It brings to the surface unresolved hurts, hidden resentments, the lies you've told yourself. When these things emerge, you have 2 options. Let them ferment in your soul or cleanse them through confession. In phase 2 of Mercury retrograde, from November 18 to 29, when past issues resurface like ghosts, confession offers immediate clarity. The mental fog dissipates when the soul is clean. Confession is the spiritual reset during chaos. My instruction for you is this: schedule your confession before November 9th. Enter the retrograde phase with your soul washed clean. And then, confess weekly until December 16th. Don't wait for mortal sin. Confess the small deviations, the irritations, the impatiences, because these small stains become big obstacles during Mercury retrograde. I know a Catholic who, during a previous retrograde period, started confessing weekly. He told me each confession was like pressing a reset button. I could think clearly again. That's what the third tool does for you. 3 tools completed, 3 power multipliers still to come. The fourth tool is Marian devotion. Padre Pío had a profound devotion to the Virgin Mary. He said, love the Virgin and make others love her. Always pray the rosary. And he wasn't being sentimental. He was being strategic. Mary is the mother of peace. And when relationships are tense during phase 1 of Mercury retrograde, from November 9 to 18, you need a powerful intercessor. Daily rosary, even if it's just 1 decade, 10 Hail Marys, activates Mary's maternal protection over your life. But there's something deeper here. The don't worry principle I mentioned before. It's activated through Marian trust. You hand over your worries to Mary, and she brings them to Jesus. When the brutal honesty of phase 2 starts to hurt when painful, truths are spoken and relationships are tested, you pray to Mary for the protection of your family and your relationships. Carry rosary beads in your pocket. During stressful conversations, touch the beads. It's a tangible reminder of Mary's protection. It's not superstition. Its spiritual presence. Mary's intercession is powerful, but Padre Pío combined it with this. The fifth tool is the Eucharist. Padre Pío taught, the Eucharist is the Prince of Peace. Receive it as frequently as possible. During the Mercury retrograde window, commit to attending Mass at least once a week daily, if possible. Why? Because when everything seems chaotic, when communication is broken, when you can't trust your own perceptions, the Eucharist is the ultimate anchor. You receive Christ. And Christ is internal stability, regardless of external chaos. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." John 14:27. This peace doesn't depend on Mercury being direct or retrograde. It comes from within, from the Eucharistic Christ who dwells in you. My instruction is this. Commit to one extra Mass per week during November 9 to 29. If you already go on Sundays, add a Mass during the week. Let the Eucharist stabilize you when Mercury retrograde is trying to destabilize you. 5 tools implemented. The 6th ties it all together. The 6th tool is temperance. Guard your senses. Padre Pío warned, guard your senses, avoid vanity, maintain humility. And this applies directly to Mercury retrograde. During phase 1, from November 9 to 18, you're on red alert for verbal explosions. It's when people speak without thinking, when they send messages that destroy relationships, when they react instead of respond. Temperance protects you from this. Limit your information intake. Reduce social media consumption. These platforms amplify misunderstandings during Mercury retrograde. Avoid gossip, and before responding to any text, email, or message, apply the 24-hour rule. Wait a day, let the emotion settle, then respond. Guarding your senses means filtering what enters your mind during the period of mental fog. And humility, it's the antidote to the wounds of brutal honesty. When someone tells you a painful truth during phase 2, temperance allows you to receive it without reacting defensively. You stop, you breathe. You pray, then you respond if it's necessary to respond. My practical instruction, digital sunset at 8 p.m. every day during November 9 to 29. Turn off your phone. Protect your spiritual peace. Mercury retrograde cannot invade what you don't allow in. 6 complete tools. Now let's see them in action. You might be thinking, does this actually work? Let me share 3 stories of Catholics who applied Padre Pío's system. The first is of a woman named Catherine. During Mercury retrograde in 2024, she was facing a devastating family crisis. Broken communication, old resentments resurfacing, relationships on the brink of collapse. She told me she decided to apply Padre Pío's 6 tools systematically. 15-minute morning prayer without exception. Delegation to her guardian angel before any difficult conversation. Weekly confession. Daily rosary. Mass twice a week. And strict temperance. She turned off her phone at 8 p.m. You know what happened? The storms didn't stop. Mercury retrograde kept causing chaos around her. But within her, peace. She told me, I can't control Mercury retrograde, but I can control my spiritual practice. And the relationships that seemed irreparable began to heal. The conversations that seemed impossible became natural again. Why? Because she was anchored. The second story is about a man named Michael. He was in serious conflict with a brother. Harsh words were spoken. Deep wounds were opened. During a period of intense tension, he remembered Father Pío's teaching about guardian angels. He began asking his guardian angel to speak with his brother's guardian angel. It wasn't overnight magic, but 48 hours later, his brother called him. The conversation that had been impossible for months happened naturally. Michael told me, I delegated to heaven and heaven delivered. The third story is about a teacher named Sarah. She was facing intense mental fog, constant anxiety, spiritual heaviness that she couldn't explain. She committed to weekly confession during a difficult month. Each confession was like pressing a reset button. She told me I could think clearly again. It was as if someone wiped the foggy window of my mind. Weekly confession isn't merely about forgiveness of sins. It's fundamentally about spiritual clarity. And during Mercury retrograde, when clarity is the first thing you lose, confession gives it back to you. Now you have the 6 tools. But how do you apply them specifically to the phases of Mercury retrograde? Let me give you the roadmap. In the pre-shadow, from October 21st through November 9th, you're building spiritual muscle before the storm. Start now. Establish your morning prayer routine this week. Schedule your first confession. Begin invoking your guardian angel daily. You're preparing the ground. When Mercury retrograde arrives, you won't be improvising. You'll have a system running. In phase 1, from November 9th to 18th in Sagittarius, you're on red alert for verbal explosions. Maximum temperance. 24-hour pause before responding to any difficult communication. Delegate all complicated conversations to your guardian angels first. And daily rosary for the protection of relationships. This phase is about preventing damage. You don't want to say things you can't take back. In phase 2, from November 18th to 29th in Scorpio, truths are emerging. Confess immediately when past issues resurface. Attend extra masses for grounding through the Eucharist. And trust the principle of don't worry when hidden things are revealed. This phase is about clarity. What needs to be seen will be seen. Your protection is to remain spiritually clean and anchored. In the post-shadow, from November 29th to December 16th, you maintain protection until the influence passes completely. Continue weekly confession. Gradual return to normal rhythm, but with the foundation you've built sustaining you. These 6 tools are your armor, but in the next segment, I'm going to reveal the one error that neutralizes everything. Even practicing Catholics make this error, and it leaves you spiritually vulnerable during Mercury retrograde. Plus, I'm going to give you the exact 7-day implementation plan to put all 6 tools into action before November 9th. Stay with me through the final segment. This error could cost you your protection. I mentioned the one error that destroys all spiritual protection, and now I'm going to reveal exactly what it is. Even devout Catholics who know all 6 tools make this error, and Mercury retrograde exploits this flaw. This isn't about doing the practices the wrong way. It's about the attitude you bring when you practice them. Let me explain exactly what Father Pío warned about this. Father Pío said 3 fundamental words: pray, have hope, and don't worry. Most Catholics remember the first 2. But it's the 3rd word that makes all the difference, and it's precisely where almost everyone fails. The fatal error is this: practicing all 6 tools mechanically while worrying that they won't work. It's praying while anxious about the effects of Mercury retrograde. It's confessing while doubting God's forgiveness. It's receiving the Eucharist while fearing spiritual vulnerability. It's invoking your guardian angel while doubting his ability to help you. Why does this neutralize protection? Because faith is the active ingredient in spiritual protection. Jesus said clearly in Matthew 9:29, "Let it be done to you according to your faith." When you practice mechanically doing the prayers, receiving the sacraments, invoking the angels, but your heart is full of worry, you cancel out the power of these practices. Mechanical religion has no spiritual power. And here's what Mercury retrograde exploits: anxiety and worry amplify chaos. That's exactly what the retrograde period feeds on. When you practice the 6 tools, but you're still panicking about November 9th to 29th, you're giving Mercury retrograde exactly the energy it needs to create confusion in your life. Let me show you how this error manifests during Mercury retrograde. Symptom number 1. You do all the practices, but you still panic when thinking about the period between November 9th and 29th. Symptom number 2, you pray just to be safe instead of trusting in divine protection. Symptom number 3, and this one is subtle, you keep checking horoscopes or astrological forecasts despite your Catholic practices. This means your faith is divided. Symptom number 4, excessive preparation. You stack spiritual practices on top of each other as if accumulating protection, instead of simply trusting in God's care. Here is the decisive test. If you practice all 6 tools but still fear Mercury retrograde, you're committing the fatal mistake. Worry cancels out trust. Without trust, the practices lose their power. But here is the antidote, and it is simple. Practices plus trust equals complete protection. Father Pío faced demons daily. He carried the wounds of Christ in his body. He was in constant spiritual warfare, and yet never did he worry. The change you need to make is this. Your work is to practice and trust. God's work is to protect. Do not confuse the two roles. You do the 6 tools, then you release the anxiety. That is when protection activates. That is when Mercury retrograde can no longer reach you. The 7-day plan I'm about to give you includes both practice and building trust, because both together are what Father Pío taught. Now let us go to the plan. This is the 7-day implementation plan. Whether you have 7 days or 70 days until November 9th, this plan builds your foundation. The goal is clear. By day 7, all 6 tools will be operational and trust will be established. If you already practice some of these tools, accelerate to day 7. If you're starting from 0, follow the sequence. Day 1, Prayer Foundation. The practice: establish 15 minutes of prayer in the morning, at minimum 1 Our Father and 1 Hail Mary. But here is the trust building for day 1. Practice praying without asking for specific results. Just connection, just being in God's presence. The check-in: did you worry during prayer? That is the trust gap you need to close. Day 2, Guardian Angel Activation. The practice: morning invocation, plus 3 conscious delegations throughout the day. Trust building: delegate 1 small worry, then observe what happens. Build trust through experience. The check-in: notice when you try to control versus when you delegate and release. Day 3, Schedule Confession. The practice: schedule your confession ideally before November 9th or at the earliest available date. Trust building: go to confession not out of fear, but out of trust in God's mercy. The check-in: after confession, practice do not worry for 24 hours. Resist the anxiety. See if you can. Day 4, Marian Devotion Integration. The practice: pray 1 decade of the Rosary 10 Hail Marys and carry the beads with you. Trust building: entrust a relationship to Mary, then do not become obsessed with it. The check-in: can you hand over control to Mary's intercession, or are you still trying to manage everything yourself? Day 5, Eucharistic Commitment. The practice: attend Mass, or if you cannot today, commit to a specific date before November 9th. Trust building: receive the Eucharist as peace, not as a protection ritual. Feel the difference. The check-in: after Mass, observe if you trust in Christ's presence or are still worried. Day 6, Temperance Implementation. The practice: digital sunset at 8 p.m. and a 24-hour pause before any reactive communication. Trust building: practice silence. Trust that God fills the empty space. The check-in: did you need to respond immediately, or could you trust the pause? Day 7, Integration and Trust Evaluation. Today, you practice all 6 tools in a single day. Morning prayer plus guardian angel, plus reflection on your confession, plus rosary, plus reflection on Mass, plus temperance. And here is the trust evaluation for day 7. Practice today Father Pío's complete formula. Pray morning routine plus guardian angel, plus rosary. Hope reflect on God's faithfulness. If you can, write 3 examples in your journal. Do not worry: conscious release of anxiety about Mercury retrograde. The decisive test: can you say Mercury retrograde begins on November 9th without fear? If you can, that is trust. If your heart still tightens, go back to days 1 through 6 and strengthen your foundation. Readiness for Mercury retrograde means this: if you can do day 7 peacefully, you are ready. Retrograde has no power over you. Now for maintenance until December 16th. During the retrograde period from November 9th to 29th, continue all 6 tools daily. You are in the storm, but you are protected. During the post-shadow from November 29th to December 16th, maintain weekly confession plus daily prayer at minimum. After December 16th, you have built spiritual muscle. Sustain the foundation with flexibility. And long-term, these are not practices for Mercury retrograde. They are life practices that Father Pío taught. They do not end when retrograde ends. They become who you are. You are now spiritually armored. Let's recap what you gained today. You now have what 99% of Catholics do not have: Father Pio's complete protection system. You gained the 3 essential words: pray, hope, do not worry. You gained 6 protection tools: prayer, guardian angel, confession, Marian devotion, Eucharist, temperance. You identified and corrected the fatal mistake. And now you have the 7-day implementation plan. The change is this: you do not have fear of Mercury retrograde. From November 9th to 29th, you are prepared. Father Pio promised, those who pray are saved. Those who do not pray are condemned. You are choosing salvation. Now for the call to immediate spiritual action. Start day 1 today. Not tomorrow, today. Set a timer for 15 minutes right now. Pray 1 Our Father and 1 Hail Mary. Invoke your guardian angel before you sleep tonight. Secondary action. Schedule confession. This week, find your parish's confession times and put it on your calendar. Now count down. How many days until November 9th, 2:14 p.m. Eastern Time? But here's what you need to know. The pre-shadow is already active. You're already under its influence. And finally, the call to action of trust. After praying today, practice the don't worry approach for the next hour. Build that spiritual muscle. See how it feels. Now let's build channel engagement. Tell me in the comments, which of the 6 tools resonates most with you? If you've already used Father Pio's protection before, share your testimony below. Your story can help someone watching right now who desperately needs that encouragement. Subscribe to the channel for more Father Pio teachings and Catholic spiritual protection strategies. And if this video has equipped you for Mercury retrograde, let me know with a like. Let me know this message reached you. Let me recap the complete timeline. October 21st, pre-shadow active, you're in it right now. November 9th, 2:14 p.m. Eastern Time, Mercury retrograde begins. November 9 to 18, Phase 1, communication crisis. November 18 to 29, Phase 2, hidden truths come to the surface. December 16th, post-shadow ends. Your complete protection window closes. The choice is yours. You can face this 2-month window with fear or with Father Pio's protection. If you implement these 6 tools with confidence, Mercury retrograde becomes your opportunity, not your threat. It becomes the period when your faith is deepened, not the period when your life crumbles. Father Pio's blessing. Pray, have hope, and don't worry. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. In my next video, the 3 prayers that Father Pio prayed daily that kept demons away. One of them will shock you. Subscribe so you don't miss it. May Father Pio intercede for you. Go in peace and remember, pray, have hope, don't worry.